mynews.studio.
In just 1 month, China installed enough solar panels to power an entire country like Poland. What does that actually mean for the world?
Today's date is January 16th, 2026. Let's start with the headline. In 2025, China was responsible for over half of all new wind and solar capacity in the world. This isn't just another record. This marks a shift in how energy is produced globally.
The numbers are staggering. Just in May 2025, China was adding about 100 solar panels every second. And that's straight from the data, no exaggeration. It wasn't limited to major cities either. You had rooftops in the east, wind farms stretching through the western deserts. But why is China able to move at this pace when so many other countries seem to stall?
Policy changes made a huge difference. Think back to when China switched from feed-in tariff incentives to contracts for difference auctions last June. Before that change, developers rushed to finish 92 gigawatts of solar in May, hoping to secure subsidies. But then installations dropped sharply, down 85% in June, and it kept falling through July and August.
It did look like a sudden drop, almost like falling off a cliff. But it wasn't the end. The new contracts for difference setup offered smaller incentives at first, but with more long-term certainty. Developers adapted. Starting in September, installations picked up again. 9.66 gigawatts, then 12.6 gigawatts in October, and a big jump to 22 gigawatts in November. For 2025, China's on course for 287 gigawatts of new solar. The projections for 2026 are lower, at 218 gigawatts. Through all this, what kept the electricity grid stable?
That's where technology steps in. China put more than $80 billion into its grid in 2024 alone. Ultra-high voltage transmission lines now link remote solar and wind farms to the crowded coastal cities. Gigawatt-scale energy bases anchor the system. But the key development? Storage. More than 78 gigawatts of new energy storage, batteries, air, gravity-based, triple what was targeted for 2025. But did it actually work?
It did, and then some. Renewable sources now account for 44% of China's total capacity. In the first half of 2025, renewables generated more power than coal, 5,072 terawatt-hours, compared to coal's 4,896. Wind and solar alone covered 35% of electricity demand, up from 28% the year before. Solar reached a record 96 terawatt-hours in April. And coal plants? They dropped to 46.4% utilization, mainly kept on hand for grid stability. But what does all this mean for other countries?
It's not just about China's internal progress. By adding 256 gigawatts of solar in just the first half of 2025, that's 67% of the global total, China is driving costs down everywhere. Advances in supply chains are making solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries cheaper for everyone. But here's the concern. What happens if China slows down or if new trade barriers come up?
That's the risk. The US and other countries have already started putting in restrictions to avoid relying too heavily on China. If China's installations fall to 218 gigawatts in 2026, or if supply chains are disrupted, prices could rise and projects elsewhere might stall. Now, countries are trying to diversify their manufacturing. But for now, China's $625 billion clean energy investment in 2024 set a benchmark for the world.
So why does all this matter? China is the world's largest carbon emitter. The speed of its renewable rollout has a direct impact on global carbon emissions and on climate targets. Other countries are paying close attention. Some are encouraged, others are worried about being too dependent. The global energy map is shifting, and it's not just about technology. Policy, economics, and geopolitics are all in play. Is this the start of a new energy era?
That's really the central issue. China's choices are reshaping the global response to climate change. Every country, every individual is touched by these shifts in energy, environment, and the economy. If China can accomplish this, what's stopping others? What lessons should we take from this?
And how quickly can the rest of the world respond? Or are we always going to be catching up?
We've walked through China's record installations, policy changes, grid upgrades, and how global supply chains are shifting. The future of energy is being decided right now, and China is writing much of the story.
Thanks for joining us as we broke down the numbers, and more importantly, why they matter for everyone.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now for free.